Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Today, I just want to kind of just talk about the energy and what's been going on, what I'm seeing, and, just kind of get real with you guys about relationships, about, let's just kind of keep it open dialogue. Bear with me and just try to follow along. I've been watching a lot about love lately, and I'm watching it in my clients. I've seen it in my own personal life. And I'm just watching how everything is crumbling down right now, all around us. It's like, relationships that really truly they had a shot, man, and it's like, I don't know where they went wrong, but all of a sudden things just go sideways. And it's like, one of the biggest things is you've got one partner who's always saying, like, I don't have enough, or I can't, or, there's this one side that, sees. And I feel like the feminine is the one that can see, like, what are you talking about? Like, there's nothing wrong here. We're not looking for anything. Whereas the masculine is in this place of, like, I don't have enough. I need more, 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 more. And it's like, the fact of the matter is, we have to be able to see the forest through the trees. We need to be able to look 10 steps ahead. And it's like, I see the masculines getting caught up in, like, the here and now, which is great, but they're not really thinking about the future. Recently I went through this experience where I was seeing somebody, and I haven't dated in like 8.5 years. So this guy had to have been a really special guy for me to even think about, sharing my energy with anyone. And, it was like, we got together. It was amazing. And then all of a sudden, like, he was starting a business and I was right there with him, we're doing everything. Like, I'm down there painting, I'm helping him out. Like, we're working together for the same common goal. And like, we're like months in and I'm thinking, we haven't even committed. And all of a sudden, like, when I came to him, and this wasn't like 2 months in, this is like going on almost 6 months in. And I'm like, where are we going here? Because I'm not going to just continue moving this forward and putting all my heart and soul into this. If you're, do what a wife would do for a husband when he couldn't even call me his girlfriend. And, he was like, oh, I can't commit. But, he wanted my help. He wanted me to do all these things, but he didn't want to do them as in, we are building a future together and this is us as a team and this is what we're doing, because he couldn't see that far in advance. All he could see is what he was focused on. So he kept telling me, I don't have time. I don't have this. I don't need more time. We spend together, but, once in a while, go on an adventure. I'm not asking for Louis Vuitton. I'm not asking for fancy trips. I'm just like, every once in a while, we live on a freaking island. Like, let's go somewhere. Let's do something. And he couldn't see that. All he could see was, like, I was trying to stand between him and his business and this and that. And I'm like, I get that we're all focused on something right now, but it is with this at this time, it is better together, working together for the same common goal. And I think that that's what, humanity is lacking right now. So with that said, I pulled back my energy. I was like, I'm not going to do all of this without, a commitment. And of course, as a feminine and just as a regular human, like, we kind of want to know, like, where is this going? So anyway, I parted ways. I pulled back all my energy. I'm like, if he's not going to invest in this, then I'm not going to invest anymore either. I'm going to invest just as much as he's investing into it, which once I pulled back, I realized was nothing. Not time, not energy, not dinner, unless I was the one cooking it and I was the one paying for it. And then I turn around, I pull back for a while, and then I hear from him, and he's like, I'd really like to see you. Please come down. I didn't say anything. I did show up. And when I showed up, he's got these other people doing exactly what I was doing for no money, no energy, And I'm like, so you were willing to give up an amazing relationship where you didn't even have to pay me to be there. Like I wanted to, because I believe in you. But to know that, like, hey, she's got food on the table or a roof over her head. If we're going to do this as a partnership, like, let's start thinking about moving in together in the next few months. Like, are we working towards that? The thing is, and the reason why I'm telling you this story is because I'm not the only one going through it. It's the theme everywhere. And I want to let you guys know that I am too. Like, I'm human. I'm able to do this job and whatever I do. But at the same time, it doesn't make us immune to the fuckery that goes on in the world. It opens us up to, like, we get to learn the lesson, and depending on how we experience it and how we maneuver it is how we turn around and come back and teach you. So I go in, I notice he's got these two other women who are volunteering their time, whom he's not dating, supposedly. And I'm looking at this situation and I'm like, wow, you gave up somebody so fucking spectacular, somebody that you were in love with, because she wanted to talk about a commitment for the future, but you were willing to commit to strangers to volunteer for you instead of building on a relationship and making us work. It's insane out there. It's insane. Like, the dating pool, I feel like we got a bunch of these just goofy fish right now. And I'm just like, wow, is this the pond? Like, I need to go swimming in a new pond. And so if you've gone through the lesson before, which I have, because it's a pattern it's a cycle that is coming around again, right? And, for those of us who are especially my age and my generation, and think about like 12, 13 years ago, where were you at in relationships? What were you seeing around you? But it's like a rearranging of relationships, but it's also a knowing of your value, knowing of your worth, and making sure that the person that you are investing your time, your energy, and your effort into is somebody who is actually going to know what they want. Come in with a plan, not somebody who just meets you and goes, oh shit, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't mean to catch feelings. Now I don't know what to do. Hold on, give me a minute. I'll come back later. Well, here's the deal. Some of you guys will open that door and you will allow later to happen. But then there's going to be other people. I feel like 90% of the people right now are going to say no. No. You had your chance and you didn't see it for what it was. No, I choose me. I choose my own happiness. I choose somebody who didn't, act a part of every cycle I have already been through. And I feel like for a lot of you, you're really working hard at like holding yourself back because there's this yearning, especially with this full moon eclipse in Aries. But Aries is all about independence. Aries is the I. It's the I am, whereas Libra, which is in 2 weeks, October 14th, is the we. So right now we're balancing between the axis of if I am going to be in a relationship, I'm going to be in a relationship, not alone in the relationship. Otherwise, I'll just be alone. When I divorced my ex-husband 20 years ago, it was that situation. If I'm going to be at home alone, you don't have time, you're a workaholic, you don't have time. When you are home, you're distracted, and I'm already doing everything alone. I may as well just be alone. So again, there's that cycle that we are all experiencing, and maybe you haven't gone through, completely what I've been through, but I feel like the scenarios are a lot in the same, especially if you're Aries or Libra right now, So what we have to learn how to do is choose me, choose self. Because at the end of the day, when you have trust and faith in the universe, they're going to make sure everything works out for you. They're going to make sure that you have everything that you desire and that you're not settling. And I feel like, had I not learned the lesson, because in the past I would have waited years down the line, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, down the line. Yeah, somebody's spitting out dirt. Sorry about the distraction, but yeah, all these years down the line, and it's like, no, not again. Maybe that was the unhealed version of myself. And, that's the difference of going between the divine feminine and the distorted feminine. The distorted feminine side of myself in the past would have been apt to hanging around. The divine feminine is willing to fly the fuck away. No, I don't think so. Like leaving on a jet plane. Leaving on a jet plane. Like you don't leave a divine feminine, a goddess, somebody who is like done their work. You don't leave them in a gray area. And if you're working on that divine femininity, your divine feminine side of yourself is going to say no. Like, I choose me. I choose happiness. And, if this relationship that is sitting next to me is making me feel crazy, especially for a lot of you who walked in with your heart on your sleeve and you gave without question until you realized, like, they're not giving back. And they come in, they're sweet, they're cute, they're that Casanova, right? And so you're like, wow, because they're so sweet, like, how could I walk away from this person? Well, you gonna hang out? You gonna continue just because they're cute? Like, you have to set your ground. And the thing is if you go running right back, then they know that there is no consequences to their actions. And as an Aries ascendant, fuck that. There will be consequences to your actions. And that's what Aries full moon eclipse is the consequences to the actions. It's you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow in relationships. Were you selfish? Were you a healthy selfish? Were you overgiving, oversharing, or just enough? Because selfish, people hear that word and they automatically think something negative, and it's not. It's not always necessarily true. Now, what I was dealing with him was absolutely selfish. And so I pulled back to be a healthy selfish. And then, the manipulator side, the one who's used to getting their way, they make themselves a victim. Well, I have no help. Well, I have no this and I have no that. And the unhealed version of myself would have been like, well, let me help you. But the healed version of myself is like, well, where's all your friends? I'm not the only one, am I? So it's just right now, it's either that or we're seeing the other side, which is, this is like child's play to me. I've already been through so much worse in my life. The way I look at it is do something that nobody else has ever done. Stay, do something that nobody else has ever done and actually work on healing the relationship and look at your side of the street. Now, on the other aspect in relationships, I'm seeing the toxicity in the relationships. I'm seeing the screaming, the yelling, the bickering, the bitching, I'm seeing the toxicity. And don't get me wrong, the other day I lowered myself, back down a little bit for like a brief moment. So be careful with your energy right now too, because it can be mean, and I can say I can be mean, if I have to be, but it's because I've been nice and I've been nice and I've been nice. And when it comes to my relationships, I get pissed because at the end of the day, the stuff that the things that I have been through are things that I wouldn't even consider doing to anyone else. So when it actually happens and it's in my sphere, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is so beneath me. I'm sure you guys all know what we're talking about here. It's like, we've been through so much. especially like the last few years in relationships. And if you go back to the very first video, April 1st, 2020, April Fool's Day 2020 is when I started this YouTube channel. And the first video I ever put out there, I said, you know, you're going to be sitting here with your partner now on lockdown for like the next couple of years. And you're going to realize like whether or not you really fucking like this person. And, you know, the people who are utilizing this right are the people who are going to be doing their shadow work. You know, the people who are going to be working with their partner for the same common goal. But it wasn't, because it was a very stressful situation. So it was going to either make you or break you. Now, I see a lot of selfishness in relationships when it comes to money. That's another really big one that I can't even fathom. Like, I was talking to a client today, and she was talking to me about how, you know, her partner makes all this money, and, you know, she does her passion, or, you know, her mission. She has another side job, but she also does her mission so that she can make money. Well, they split the rent. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's in construction and she's working this job so that he can do his job and they can take care of the kids. And they split the rent. And I'm like, what is this? Like, back when I was married 20 years ago, back in the traditional days, you know, it wasn't about that. It was about, you just put the money in the account. Both of you have the same account and the rent is paid. The bills are paid. It's not tit for tat. When did we get to this tit for tat bullshit? I mean, I must be really out of the loop here, man, because I don't see it that way. I see it like, I don't see it as separation in bills. And I see that so much in a lot of my clients where, you know, he makes the majority of the money, or one of them's the breadwinner. It's not always him, but the majority of them it is. You know, and she's supposed to be doing her mission. You know, the masculine is supposed to cover the 3D realm so that the feminines are supposed to be able to do their mission work to help heal this earth, to be there for the children, to help raise them. And now it's this, well, you need to pay half the bills. Are you kidding me? When did that come into play? Because again, like, I must be behind times because I don't function that way. The way I function is, you know, if you have enough to pay the bills, great. I'll buy the groceries and take care of that, and we'll put the rest of the money in a savings to go on a vacation. I'm going to stick with my way. Okay, you guys do whatever the fuck you want, but I'm going to stick with my way. At the end of the day, you guys, we really have to take a step back and look at the way these relationships are formulating nowadays. And we need to ask ourselves, are we okay with that? Is our partners willing to compromise with us so that everybody is happy? You know? And unfortunately, like, that's what I came up against, is somebody who was non-committal, somebody who was not willing to compromise, wanted everything his way. And I'm sorry, but that's just not how I operate. And so at the end of the day, I said, I choose me. I choose door number 2. Even though I don't know what's behind that curtain, I'm willing to accept that curtain over what I've got right in front of me. You know what it almost reminds me of? Where, I don't know if you guys remember those games that we used to play at like birthday parties and stuff, where I think it was like the white elephant gift or something. You either could pull up the white elephant gift, or you could go over and take it away from someone else. Not that you're going to go over and take away somebody else's relationship, because at the end of the day, if they're telling you that they don't have time for you, and they're out dating other people or going to lunch or entertaining even just somebody of the opposite sex, they never wanted you in the first place. You were just they treated you as an option and not a priority. Okay? So keep that in mind. If they're entertaining that. Another thing that I have noticed in relationships is the whole social media aspect. And you've got them on Facebook hiding things. I'm seeing that. Like this guy I was seeing, he told me that, you know, we couldn't be friends on Facebook because he doesn't add anybody on Facebook. It's not used for that. And I turn around and I never looked at his Facebook because he doesn't post anything. And so I went on there and all of a sudden I realized that we have a bunch of mutual friends all of a sudden as of like a few days ago when I finally just blocked him. And I was like, you know, I was bored at night, but not last night. And, you know, I probably could have found it sooner, but I was supposed to look. And that just sealed the deal for me. And again, there's that Aries full moon eclipse. Scythe, it's over, you know? And we have to get to that place of like, I'm not willing to sacrifice my values. I'm not going to let somebody make me out to be a fool. I've already done that in the past. I'm not even going to be mad. In fact, I find it unattractive more than anything. It's just more unattractive. And I think if a lot of you guys would take a step back and look at your relationships, you would realize that, you know, lust isn't love. You know, love doesn't put your partnerships in a place where you feel intimidated. Like I'm seeing a lot of porn coming up on, you know, people's cell phones now, where their partners are finding it. I'm seeing where they're having hidden conversations with other, you know, someone of the opposite sex. I'm seeing the whole cheating dynamic coming right back out. Why? Because we've got Saturn in Pisces and we've got Neptune in Pisces, which is no boundaries. There is so much going on in relationships right now, but you guys better get prepared because we are all getting ready to be shifted again. Like I said, some of you guys aren't going to learn your lesson and you're going to go right back into the relationship that, you know, is just this scenario that we just talked about. And like I said, there's going to be a good 10% of you that's going to say, you know, I'm choosing door number 2. And I hope you're one of those people because I'm telling you right now, if you're already this dissatisfied at the very beginning of a relationship when it should have been able to last the test of time and it started out strong and this person chose other people or other situations over you, that is entirely up to you. But if this person does come back, they need to come back with a grand gesture. And you need to put this motherfucker to the test. Now, that doesn't mean play games. That means when you need them to show up, they show up. They do some of the cooking. Invite you over to their place once in a while or, you know, and take you out instead of just showing up at your place. Make sure it's not one-sided. And anybody who tells you, well, why do I need to put a title on it? Why don't you? Why don't you? If somebody says, oh, well, I don't need to go public on social media that I'm in a relationship, why don't you? You know, I'm not normally a fan of all that. Like, it's usually nobody's business. But when somebody's saying, like, I don't want to do that, and that's like their thing, if it just doesn't happen, it just doesn't happen. But that's because you feel secure enough and this person has made you feel secure in your relationship where it wouldn't matter to anybody if you guys were in a relationship. Pay attention to the red flags, you guys, because the signs are really cautioning us. And if, like I said, if, you know, it's, sometimes people don't know why relationships fall apart, but the universe knows what you're doing behind that other person's back and what that person is doing behind your back and what their intentions are. And it will take you guys out of that relationship, especially if it knows, which it does. You can't fake it with the universe. Because it will always, liars, cheaters, and thieves will always get caught, and especially around a Libra and Aries fucking eclipses, and during a Mercury in retrograde, anytime. Mark my fucking words. Anyway, you guys, at the end of the day, you do you. You know, here's some words of advice. Share this with a friend. Share this with anyone that you feel that it might help. Check me out on Facebook and Instagram as well. If you guys have not had a chance to get a reading with me, please feel free to schedule on my website. I did just do a $50 off coupon. It's called Eclipse 50. And just know I love you guys all so much. I want to see these relationships succeed, but, you know, it takes two. It's not a one-sided. That's what Libra is all about. It cannot be one-sided. It has to be balanced between the two. Love you guys all so much, and we will chat again soon. Take care.